In 1980, a mysterious structure opened up to the public in Georgia. The monument was dedicated to the Age of Reason, though, to some who saw it, it was the 10 Commandments of the Antichrist, or the work of the New World Order. Let's look into the mystery of the Georgia Guidestones. Hello, and welcome to Foam Noodle Facts, the show where I tell you about things that you don't really need to care about. Today we are covering the mystery of the Georgia Guidestones and the hidden creator, or creators. Bum bum bum. My name is David, and if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Foam Noodle to see more. Thanks. To start, let's explain what the Guidestones even are. In the heart of Georgian farmland lies a 19-foot tall granite monument of 5 pillars in the shape of an X, 4 of which are inscribed with 10 guidelines, or principles, or commandments if you want. The 4 pillars are inscribed on each side, but each in a different language. In the middle of the 4 pillars is a column that is the same height as the other 4 stones, but does not have any writing on it. Instead, there are 2 carvings drilled into it. The first one is a hole drilled at an upward angle, so when you look through it, you will always find the North Star. The other is a horizontal slot that is carved towards the middle bottom of the pillar that aligns with the sun's solstices and equinoxes. On top of the 5 monolithic pillars is a 9-foot long capstone. Now there are 2 notable things about this capstone. One is the 7/8 inch hole carved through the top of the slab. It is carved in such a way that at noon of each day, a single beam of the sun shines through and hits the middle pillar, signifying when noon is at any time of the year. The second notable item about the capstone are the inscriptions written in Babylonian, Classical Greek, Sanskrit, and Hieroglyphic Egyptian that all translate into, "Let these be guidestones to an age of reason." Now, before I explain what the guidestones are, let's talk about the man or men who paid for it. In 1979, an older man of about 70 in a fancy suit walked into the Elberton Granite Finishing Company talking about a project that made Joe Fendley, the president of the company at the time, think that this man was a nut. In an attempt to get this man out of his hair, Fendley made a quote on the project that was several times larger than what was to be expected. To his surprise, the man shook his head and asked him when it could be finished. This crazy man went by the name of Robert C. Christian, known as R.C. Christian, though he admitted at the time that he was using a pseudonym to keep him and the people he represented anonymous. Now, when securing his funds for the project, Christian was directed to work with Wyatt Martin, who was the president of one of the banks nearby. Wyatt recalled that Christian mentioned that the quote-unquote small group of loyal Americans he represented had been planning this monument for over 20 years. Before Christian disappeared, he wrote a contract with Martin that stated that all documents and plans and whatever for the project would be destroyed upon completion, and that all info about Christian would be withheld from the public. In his last appearance, R.C. Christian gave Joe Fendley of the Granite Company a shoebox that contained a scale model of the stones and 10 pages of specifics that were to be used for the project. Then he was gone. Wyatt Martin and Joe Fendley are the only 2 men who ever saw R.C. Christian face to face. Now, you must be asking yourselves, what was the message that this small group of loyal Americans wanted the world to know? The 10 guidelines are as follows. 1. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. 2. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. 3. Unite humanity with a living new language. 4. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. 5. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. 6. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. 7. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. 8. Balance personal rights with social duties. 9. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. 10. Be not a cancer unto the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. These guidelines were written in 8 different languages, these languages being English, Spanish, Swahili, Hebrew, Hindi, Arabic, traditional Chinese, and Russian. A few feet from the main structure is an explanatory tablet which explains the celestial and visual functions, as well as the structural measurements of the monument, along with 3 additional pieces of information. These additional pieces of information are author, R.C. Christian, a pseudonym. I guess this was 1979 and spell check wasn't around, but they said they were planning it for 20 years, so I mean, no excuses. Anyways, author, R.C. Christian, a pseudonym. Sponsors, a small group of Americans who seek the age of reason. And weirdly, time capsule, placed 6 feet below this spot, on blank, to be opened blank. Now, both the date it was to be placed and that it was to be opened were left blank, we think, intentionally, leaving some suspicion as to whether or not a time capsule was ever buried there at all. On March 22, 1980, the Guidestones were unveiled to the public with an audience of about 400 people watching. From the very start, they have been a magnet of controversy and especially conspiracy theories, ranging from the New World Order to sun-worshipping cults and, of course, devil worship. Sorry. This has led to the stones being vandalized many, many times by the people opposing the cabals they believe to have created the stones. To this day, it is debated what the meaning and purpose of the stones actually are. Now, to me, the most likely and somewhat agreed upon interpretation of the stones is that they describe what is required to rebuild a devastated civilization. Author Brad Miller noted that in 1979, when the stones were built, this was at the height of the Cold War, so they may have been designed for those left behind from a potential World War III. I mean, the suggestion about a population under 500 million isn't so ridiculous and hard to think about if the population is already under that number to a presumed nuclear winter. Whatever the real purpose of the Guidestones or who the true identity of R.C. Christian really was or the people that he worked for, we will likely never find out. This will remain a mystery long after we are all gone, but the stones will remain, all the way to the Age of Reason. Thanks for watching.